Not that they need any introduction after they captivated everyone at the Pyeongchang Olympics, but they are, let's see here, 5-time Olympic medalists, 3-time world champions, 8-time national champions. Tessa Virtue, Scott Moir. Does it ever get old hearing those read off?
That's quite an introduction
That's
for people who don't need an introduction.
Oh my gosh. It has been nonstop for you guys since winning gold at Pyeongchang. What's been your favorite part of the last 5 months?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, we just kind of came off touring in Japan, and for us, it still feels like it's May. It feels like we were just at the Olympics a month ago, and we haven't quite stopped yet. So I think our favorite has to be coming home to Canada. That's all for Olympians. That's what it's all about, and getting that support from your community and your country. And for us to have a tour that goes across the country is so important. So that's probably been the highlight. But we're looking forward to kind of settling back down a little bit.
Getting back into routine. Now, you mentioned Japan. I wanted to ask you about, Scott, you posted these pictures. I think we might have them here while you're in Japan wearing kimono.
Look at me.
Tessa, you're into fashion. I want to know, when you saw these, was it a smile moment for you, or was it a reaction?
Well, it was such a nice way to cap off our trip there by dressing in such a traditionally, traditional way.
Sure.
And we love the Japanese culture. They've been so warm.
Yeah, that's the authentic way to stand. I just should have
was it the
had a bit more respect.
Okay.
They're so cool, and that was a gift, and I have it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got to bring it home,
nice
so
way
it
to
was
end our
really
trip
neat.
there.
Yeah, and we saw Japanese baseball, and
I wanted to ask you about that because that's on my bucket list. What was that like?
Incredible. I mean, the cheering sections, the ambiance in the arena, it was just electric, but so respectful and very in line with the Japanese culture. And what an experience! It was such a highlight for us.
Oh,
it was
so
neat.
cool.
I was wearing a Blue Jays shirt, and we saw some Canadians there. Like,
oh, very cool.
However many miles from home, it was a neat moment. Good Canadian moment.
Now, you mentioned the Blue Jays, but I want to ask you, because word is you're a giant Maple Leafs fan. So
we both are, actually.
Where were you, and what was your reaction when you heard that the Leafs signed John Tavares?
We were in a hotel, and I was running up and down the hallway. I was so excited. I had been watching and kind of hoping, and it was a very similar reaction when they signed Mike, to be honest. When they signed Mike Babcock, I remember us being in, where were we? Somewhere in like Vancouver or something, and
I feel like in an airport maybe.
Yeah, and we're running up and down and making like it just total chaos, like in my whole body. And I felt bad because I was with my friend who's Spanish, and the Spanish team just got beat by Russia, so he was in a big sport low,
he was in the other,
and I was at like sport high, all-time high. And I just can't wait to see it. Like, so cool he's coming home, and we got to meet John Tavares when he was really young, and he still didn't know whether he was going to be a hockey player or a lacrosse player, and just spoke about his love for Toronto, so it's neat to see him come back here.
That's very cool. Now, Tessa, you've been named to ESPN's top 25 most famous women athletes in the world. Serena Williams is at #1. You're the only Canadian to make the list. What's the biggest way? Seriously, that's exciting. What's the biggest way that you've found fame has changed your life?
You know, it's interesting to hear that, and seeing that list was remarkable because there are so many athletes that I've admired forever, and I have such respect for the women on that list, and I'm not sure it actually has changed my life. I mean, I've been so fortunate to have been given a platform, and I hope to use that for good and you know, to promote the right causes. But my everyday life, I'm still surrounded by the same people, and you know, hopefully just getting home to my community, and you know, I'm the same old Tess, I hope.
I want to ask you about figure skating fans, because I find there's certain sports, tennis is one of them, soccer is one of them, figure skating is one of them, where the fans can be really fanatic. And one apparently drew 67 hand-drawn pictures, turned it into a GIF of your Moulin Rouge skate. Here it is here.
Yeah,
does this just blow you away?
That's
unbelievable.
It's incredible. We're so lucky. We really do have such incredible, loyal, thoughtful, generous fans. We're so grateful for that.
Kind of looks better as a cartoon.
Do you have any fan interactions that kind of stand out as big moments, or something that was maybe a little strange? I feel like there's a story behind that laugh.
Well, I mean, we just spent a ton of time in Japan, and the sport there right now is so huge with the success that they've had, and they're very dedicated fans. So they will come to multiple shows in a row, even though it's the same show. And they're so supportive, and they always write the sweetest letters. And the customs are that you always give a present. And I always feel like we don't bring enough to the table for that, but they're very sweet.
And I like hearing about the community that has come together because of figure skating, and the people that maybe are our friends now because they watched the Olympics or have connected, you know, online. It's really special to have that little network of with people.
A lot of Americans now
Yeah.
come up, and because they're part of these fan groups, and because they met online, they stay in hotels together, and that is heartwarming. It's neat to see that you can bring people together from all walks of life and in different parts of the world.
Now, looking back at everything you've accomplished, I read a little bit of that at the beginning of the interview. What moment will you remember most? Each of you, maybe Scott, let's start with you. Is there one specific moment that will stand out?
It's hard to beat. I know it's really cliche, but it's hard to beat the journey that we're on these last couple of years. What we shared with Patrice and Marie-France, our coaching staff in Montreal, and how they kind of reinstilled the love for our sport back in us. And it was really hard work, but it was really fulfilling and a beautiful part of our career. And it was really amazing how we topped it off with our skates in Pyeongchang, but the training at home, on the plane ride going there, we knew that it was going to be something special.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for as an athlete.
Is that the same for you?
Yeah, it was really about the process, and we were able to take the ice in Pyeongchang feeling the most prepared and confident we ever had in our career, and that's a testament to our team, Marie-France and Patrice, and the B210 integrated service team that we worked with in Montreal. I mean, we were so lucky, and as Scott mentioned, those skates and those performances were just the icing on the cake.
We're a lot of that same team, which is why we want to use them to do this tour.
Yeah.
The team event at the Olympics was special because we skate as individuals all the time. Yet we've grown up with Patrick Chan and Megan and Eric, and watched Caitlin kind of become an adult. And to be able to accomplish something as a team is kind of foreign to us, and it really brought us together. And that's the reason why we want to go across Canada and kind of share that with Canadians and do 30 cities and maybe give them a unique show that no one's ever seen before.
Now, this is the Thank You Canada tour that you guys are starting. There's some big names on this tour. Can you tell me a little bit about how the tour came to be?
Well, we've taken part in so many tours over the years, and we've always sat back and thought, I would do that slightly differently, or I wish I could try this, or, what about this lighting, or this production, this music? And finally, we thought, what better time to try our hand at this and put our money where our mouths are? And with the Canadian team doing so well together in the team event in Pyeongchang, we just thought, let's come together and collaborate on a really special project to thank the fans and the people across the country who have supported us and given us so much over the years.
There are a lot of people who are really excited about this. Now, you haven't officially announced your retirement, but do you consider this somewhat of a farewell tour as well as a thank you tour?
That's a good question. I think it has a possibility of doing that. As I said, we haven't really been home, and our feet haven't hit the ground enough to make a decision. And if people would have asked us if we thought we were going to be in Pyeongchang in March of 2014, we would have laughed at them. Seemed like the most ridiculous idea. And because we're hopefully a bit more mature and smart, we know we need some time, and we have to take the summer to discuss it and really make sure it's the decision that we want, and to officially retire. It certainly feels like Pyeongchang was a special moment. It would be hard to kind of recapture that magic, but yeah, it'll be interesting to sit down and kind of finally look back on the last 2 years.
And reflect. Well, if there's anything we can do to convince you to compete again, we will certainly be on board with that.
I think there'll be some young Canadians that come up and just make sure that we can't come back. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Best of luck with the tour. It's the Thank You Canada tour.
You.
Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by. We
Thanks
really
so much for having us.
Pleasure.
We're
We're
big
such
fans.
huge fans.